when almost the religious community knows that for a Jewish person today, it's forbidden, not because of the Palestinian people, it's forbidden to go on the Temple Mount because we're not on that state of purity that's required. It's considered one of the cardinal sins that we get cut off from God if we go up on that area. And that is respected by the Jewish communities. All the rabbinical authorities used to go for hundreds of years to the Wailing Wall. They would go to the Wailing Wall and pray, but never go over the other side of the Wailing Wall. And by the way, how were they able to go to the Wailing Wall? They were because the WAC gave them permission. For hundreds of years, Jews went to the Wailing Wall and prayed, and there was no problem. Zionism would come on the day that we mourn the destruction of the temple and we fast. It's the most serious fast day. They would dance over there, and we have witness of it, and eat on the day that we're fasting. They have back the wall. It's our wall. It's our land. It's the leaving exile. Every concept, these are the ones who are speaking in the name of God. They're God's messengers to bring you redemption. It is so corrupt, it is so hypocritical, false, and evil in its essence. Now, it doesn't mean all Zionists are evil. It doesn't mean even, we're not going into the individual person. People are conned by them. People fall prey to Zionism because of fear-mongering. There was the Nazis. Our grandparents died. And they tell that these are European Jews. They say, you know, these Arabs, they're the same thing like the Nazis. They're just continuing. They're going to continue what the Nazis started to do. They're going to finish it off. People are fearful. They get panicky. So the Zionists play on the emotions of the Jews that this is the Arabs are like the Nazis because they know we don't know the history of the Middle Eastern countries. They know we don't know we hardly barely know. Ask how many European Jews ever visited Cairo, Alexandria, Yemen, Tunisia, or Morocco. Ask anybody. They have no idea what food these people eat. We have no idea anything. And these people flourish this community. So the people, they're the Nazis. They're just going to continue it. So they prey on the emotions, fear-mongering, and falsification of what the Muslims are and of what the Torah is. That's what we want you to understand. That you want to be a good Jew, you have to keep the Sabbath, kosher, family purity, keep your covenant. And the basics of the covenant is to believe that God rules the world, He's our protector, and you can't rebel against Him, and you must respect His will when He says, do not make a statement, don't steal on other people's land.
Now, I was saying, you said at the beginning, keep an open mind, and so what I'm asking you isn't attacking you. It's things that you said that didn't line up for
right.
You, which is one of the things that I brought up to you, Hatzala.
Again, I don't see how it didn't line up, because again, Hatzala was started by, I think his name is Weber, one of the people anyways was Weber in Williamsburg, I remember before it was that time when it was created and so forth. It lines up very well.
The other big thing that I had trouble with is Herzl, because I've done extensive research on Herzl, and what you said was right. You didn't say anything that was wrong. There was Herzl did, and I looked up on my iPod to check because I wasn't 100% sure that in the late 1800s he said that there was that we should convert, and I saw the exact passage that you quoted, and then 3 years later. During the Dreyfus incident, he also wrote in his diary that he has that the only solution to end the persecution of the Jewish people is to create a Jewish state. And then 2 years after that, he published a book called The Jewish State with his vision.
So were you trying to say, in other words, that he changed his philosophy, he changed his plan?
What I'm saying is that the incidents that he said, okay, maybe we can find a compromise here where you kind of merge the two, because I mean, if I'm in, say, a club and we have another club that we're not getting, that is of conflicting interests, but we both want the same point, which is peace, then maybe combining the clubs would be a good idea.
Okay. Let me just address that. You're saying, in other words, you agree with me, it's a fact that he wrote his diary. But you're saying, oh, well, he came along and said not to convert the Jews. My point isn't the issue of his converting the Jews. I'm just showing you where his mind is. This guy, his solution to Judaism is a mass conversion. Yeah, he came up with a better plan later, joining clubs, this club, that. That's not the point. Is this guy detested God and the religion. He was looking for practical base material solutions and furthering himself from God. He till the day he died, he had a son, one son, Hans, and he was flaunted the fact that he's not circumcising his son. And that was his whole system of mindset. Where does have peace? He meant the Dreyfus trial, yes, that's how they ensnared other Jews. The beginning was nationalism, but then they said to Jews, you see that? Everybody, the Dreyfus was a captain in the French army, was a Jewish guy, was accused of espionage. And it was proven later that, you can look it up, Captain Dreyfus, it's a famous story. It was a very bad stain on French history. This was at the end of the 18th century, around there. He was a writer at the time, Theodor Herzl. So this Dreyfus was accused of being a spy for Germany, and it turned out, and he was actually condemned to a very long sentence, a long term in prison because of being a spy. And some reporters, I can't remember right now offhand all the names of the people who were involved, was very courageous reporters. They said this is blatantly false. They're just taking a sacrifice. This guy seems innocent. And they delved, they searched, and they made that whole thing, and the whole France broke out. The judges, it became anti-Semitism was expressed in all the papers, and people started really speaking out about them, showed their anti-Semitism. But at the end of the day, these guys plotted on and they proved that it was pure anti-Semitism, and he was proven innocent. This Captain Dreyfus, they simply didn't want to put the blame on the right person who was the real spy, and they threw it on the Jew. So Theodor Herzl said, you have to see that this guy's not even religious, and yet he's a loyal French citizen serving the army and the French, and yet they accuse him of being a spy. So you see this blatant anti-Semitism. We can't live together with other people. The solution would be to create our own state. And that's what I said, they ensnared, they were able to gain, he wanted nationalism, he detested God, and they were able to use the concept of Jews suffer in order to be able to glean support from Jews and be able to get people to back the Zionist movement by using, and many people, like I say, fear-mongering and panic. The Jews suffer because of anti-Semitism, true anti-Semitism like that case, and so therefore we have to have a state to protect us. But if you are Jewish, the Torah tells us you can't escape this. The people who do anti-Semitic acts will be punished by God. But you cannot escape. It's God's hand behind everything. The way to stop the suffering is by repenting and serving God. That's Judaism. You laugh at that, you say, no, there's another way out. But don't sell it as Judaism. Make it like your own religion. Make your own national. Why are you using my name? When the Torah says if you want to stop suffering, repent. If anything bad happens, it's because it's God's hand behind it. You have to repent and accept. They're using my religion, my Judaism, and they're and dictating what it is, when for thousands of years we've following this teaching of the Torah. Call it Buddhist Judaism or some other name, but not Judaism. I'm just using Judaism. I'm saying it's so radically different than Judaism. Why are you using my name to take a cause that is blatantly flaunting and spitting at the Torah, where God says that you can't escape God's hand, that you can't escape anti-Semitism, and by not only you can't escape, but to escape it by rebelling against God and making the state say, oh, I'll make a fortress, and now I can eat pig, desecrate the Sabbath, which the state of Israel is constantly desecrating. They have electric, everything runs on the Sabbath, everything they do, they desecrate every law of the Torah. We'll have a country, and we'll make a fortress, and we'll be protected, because God didn't protect us, and they're going to protect. And so who are they protecting themselves? They think they can protect themselves against God, when God says if you sin against them, you'll be punished. So in every concept, it's just like I said, a rebellion against God, and they're using the fear of Jews who don't think into it thoroughly or lacking the education, and that's how they're using, like you mentioned, this trial, the Dreyfus trial, as a cause, just like they used the Hitler, to get Jews to back them. Constantly, Sharon, before he fell sick, went to the Jews in France, and it was anti-Semitic acts, and he said to them, you guys have to leave France, come to Israel. And he became a persona non grata, if you remember. He said the Jews of France should leave France. That's what they want. For them, they create anti-Semitism, and then they say, you see that? That's why we have to have a state. So for them, it's a win-win situation. They make anti-Semites, and then they say, you see this anti-Semitism, so we have to have a state. We say, you are the cause of anti-Semitism. Not every time, but they are the exacerbator outside. Take away Zionism, we'll be able to live in peace. Now let me just give a chance for another one I can discuss with you further. Yeah.
I understand that your religion doesn't believe in creating a nation for the Jews because of the Torah, but from a humanitarian perspective, the Jews have been victims for a long time in history. For a prime example is the Holocaust.
Right.
And so, thinking as a human being, to be humane, it's time that we respect their unique culture, their unique religion, their unique customs, and grant them that piece of land.
That's a very good point.
Because if you look throughout the world,
yeah.
You go to my country, I'm a Christian, and you see so many churches in Guatemala. You go to the Middle East, you see so many mosques that represent the Muslim religion. You go to Europe, you go to Italy, you see so many cathedrals. So it's unjust for us to take this small land the size of New Jersey that represents this, group of unique, their unique culture, their customs. It's just unhumane.
Okay, let me answer that. It's very good that you brought up that point. There's two parts that I have to answer that. First of all, you say that they have this little piece of land for the Jews. Why shouldn't they have a little piece of land? For just addressing, I'm putting aside the Jewish with the laws and everything. I'll give you a metaphor. You have somebody who was a very rich guy, and he had a big house, a mansion. He had 15 bedrooms, 10 toilets, a bigger house, and he was living alone with his wife, and maybe he had one child. And he went on a holiday, he went on vacation, because he had other houses also. And while he went away, he had a gardener in the house, and the gardener had 10 children, and he picks himself, he says the guy's out for vacation 2 months, so he moves in with all his furniture, takes over all the bedrooms, and the guy comes back after a few months, and he says, what are you doing here? He said, it's my house, I'm living here. So he said to him, what do you mean you're living here? It's my house, it's my mansion, what are you doing in my house? So he takes him to court. And the judge says to him, how many children do you have? And he says, I have one child. You're a pig. You have one child, you have a mansion with 20 rooms, this guy has 10 children. What do you want from him? Where should he live? In that little hut that you gave him over there? So you know what, I'll be nice to you. I'm going to give you not one bedroom, I'm going to give you 6 bedrooms, but the rest, we're going to give to him. Is that just? Obviously not. You can't steal this guy. What do the Palestinian people have to suffer because the Jewish people have this one little piece of, you know what, let's give them New Jersey. Why should we give Palestine? Let's give them New Jersey. Be nice. We have 50 states. Why are you picking on Palestine? It's a little piece of Jewish, it's not a Jewish land, it's stolen land from the Palestinian people. Simple as that, that's first of all. Secondly, they're coming and subconsciously, and I go to the UN every year when they speak this Palestinian Day, and they constantly speak